Coke. The NBA doesn't mess around when it comes to cocaine. They banned it hard back in the 1980s, when a drug crisis nearly wrecked the league's reputation. It was dangerous for players, it made the defense sloppy, and it was tearing teams apart. The league didn't want fans thinking their favorite stars were getting high instead of getting better. Cocaine's health risks are terrifying. Heart attacks, strokes, and brain damage were just part of the list. Players were putting their lives on the line and risking the safety of others every time they stepped on the court under the influence. Michael Ray Richardson got hit the hardest. He failed 3 tests and got a lifetime ban in 1986. He never came back. Lewis Lloyd and Mitchell Wiggins both tested positive in 1987 and were also banned, but they got reinstated in 1989. Chris Washburn wasn't so lucky. After 3 failed tests in 3 years, he was banned for life in 1989. The league made it clear any connection to cocaine was a career killer. They had to protect their image, their players, and the fans' trust. I get it. It's not just about staying clean, it's about protecting the whole operation. Players needed to know the risks were real and the punishment would hit hard. The message was loud and clear. Cocaine had no place in the NBA. O.J. Mayo. His career took a massive hit because of drug policy violations. In January of 2011, he tested positive for a banned performance enhancer called dihydroepiandrosterone. He got hit with a 10-game suspension, and he blamed it on a supplement he bought over the counter. But that wasn't the end of it. Things got worse in July of 2016 when he violated the league's drug policy again. The league didn't reveal the exact substances, but Mayo later admitted he was using marijuana and prescription pain pills. Both are listed as drugs of abuse by league rules. Because of that, the NBA dismissed and disqualified him entirely. He couldn't even apply for a return until 2 years later. During that suspension, his career came to a halt. He was a free agent in 2016, but nobody touched him. Financial problems followed. He lost staff and struggled with bills, but he didn't give up. He started working out again, saying he wanted back in and was ready to follow the rules. It showed how serious the NBA is about protecting its image and holding players accountable. Once you're on the banned list, getting back is no guarantee. The league makes sure the consequences are heavy enough to scare anyone off from testing those limits again. Supreme, rocking that iconic box logo on gear, breaks those rules. Back in December of 2017, J.R. Smith wore a Supreme sleeve during a game, and that set everything off. The league told him to lose it or cover it up. Around the same time, Kelly Oubre wore a Supreme leg sleeve, and they made him remove it at halftime. Neither guy got fined, but both were worn. Then Smith took it further in 2018 when he got a tattoo of the Supreme logo on his leg. The NBA said he'd be fined every game he played without covering it. He didn't get suspended, but he definitely felt the heat. The league's protecting billion-dollar sponsorships with Nike, and Supreme's not part of that deal. They don't want brands sneaking into the spotlight for free. It's not about hating fashion, it's about business. Even though players like PJ Tucker and Devin Booker rock Supreme off the court, they're careful not to bring it to games. The NBA's made its stance clear. Beach balls. The NBA doesn't let beach balls near the court, and there's a good reason. They're officially banned under the league's code of conduct. Fans can't bring them, teams can't hand them out, and players, mascots, or anyone else tied to a team can't use them during games. The league sees beach balls as potential game stoppers. They're lightweight, easy to toss, and when one hits the court, it's an instant delay that breaks the rhythm, kills momentum, and throws off the flow. The NBA also sees them as safety concerns. A player running full speed could trip over one, and even if it's unlikely, the league doesn't take chances with injuries. Security teams are trained to spot them fast, confiscate them, and pop them if needed. Fans who try to sneak one in or throw one onto the court risk getting ejected. No fines, but no refunds either. Teams can get hit with fines if they ever try using them for promos, but that's rare. Nobody wants to risk it. Unlike slower sports where beach balls show up often, basketball's too fast, too tight, and too polished for that kind of chaos. The NBA's not trying to ruin anyone's fun, but they want full control of the game environment. That means beach balls stay out every time. APL sneakers. The NBA banned APL sneakers in 2010 because they crossed the line, boosting performance with spring-loaded tech. APL's concept, one shoe used, load in, launch technology that reportedly added up to 3.5 inches to a vertical leap. That's not fashion, that's physics. The league saw it as an unfair advantage and made a move before any player wore them in a game. No suspensions, no fines, just a flat-out ban that stopped them cold. APL had submitted the shoes hoping for approval ahead of the season, but instead, the league shut them down immediately. The shoes never made it to the hardwood, but the controversy helped APL explode in popularity. They flipped the ban into marketing gold by calling themselves the shoes banned by the NBA, and the first stock sold out fast. Still, they never broke into NBA culture because players couldn't risk it. The league has always protected its competitive balance, and they weren't about to let spring-loaded sneakers change that. Even big names like LeBron James or Kevin Durant stayed loyal to their Nike deals and didn't need the boost anyway. The ban stuck, and it's still in place today. It wasn't about looks, it was about performance. And the NBA made it clear, if your shoes make you jump higher, they're not allowed. Simple. Fairness beats innovation when it comes to staying on that court. By the way, if you guys want to subscribe, I'm going to start posting every day. Thanks. Anyways, gambling. The NBA's banned it for decades, and the rule hasn't changed. Players, coaches, referees, and team personnel can't bet on anything tied to the league. No games, no drafts, no awards, not even NBA video game leagues. It's all laid out in the rulebook to protect the league from scandals and shady outcomes. The policy's crystal clear. Wagering money or anything of value on NBA action means punishment, and that can go all the way up to a lifetime ban. The league's protecting its image, plain and simple. Fans need to believe every play's legit and not part of some betting scheme. This ban's rooted in history. Back in the 1950s and 1960s, gambling rocked college hoops and spilled into the NBA. Jack Molinas and others were banned forever for gambling ties, and the league took notes. Then the 2007 referee scandal added fuel. Tim Donaghy bet on games he worked, landed in prison, and forced the NBA to tighten everything. Even now, with betting legal in over 30 states, players still can't touch it. The league partners with sportsbooks for money and data, but if you're on a roster, you're out the second you're involved. It's a tough stance, but it works. No gray areas, no excuses. Gambling's not just risky, it's career-ending if you're in the NBA. Tyreke Evans. On May 17, 2019, the NBA banned him for violating the anti-drug program after testing positive for a drug of abuse. That category includes serious substances like cocaine, opiates, and PCP. The ban wasn't a suspension. It was a 2-year dismissal with no appeal, the kind that's written right into the collective bargaining agreement. He didn't get another shot until 2021. Evans had once looked like a future star. Drafted 4th overall in 2009, he joined Rare Company as a rookie with over 20 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists per game. But by 2018, his numbers were slipping, and off-court issues popped up in Indiana, suspensions, personal absences, and then the positive drug test. After his ban, he missed out on free agency, losing a $12 million contract window. He was reinstated in 2022, but no team picked him up. He landed in the G League, played 5 games, then got waived. By 2024, he was suiting up in Venezuela. The NBA didn't disclose the exact substance, but the ban fit the league's long-standing drug policy that grew out of past crises. Unlike gambling bans, drug violations allow reinstatement, but Evans never regained his footing. His story, once promising, ended far from the spotlight. LSD. The NBA bans it as part of its anti-drug program, labeling it a drug of abuse alongside cocaine, PCP, heroin, and methamphetamine. A first offense for using any of these substances leads to a mandatory 2-year dismissal. LSD is a powerful hallucinogen that alters perception, distorts reality, and impairs decision-making. On the court, that kind of disorientation would be dangerous for players and everyone around them. The league enforces this ban to protect athletes from harm and to maintain a safe, professional environment. The rule is clear, and enforcement would be immediate. There's no slap on the wrist. A positive test means an automatic 2-year ban. The NBA doesn't name the drug when announcing a dismissal, so it's possible LSD has been involved without the public ever knowing. But given how rare LSD use is in pro sports, the lack of headlines makes sense. It's not the type of drug athletes usually lean on. Still, the league includes it to cover all bases. LSD is illegal under federal law, and the NBA mirrors that classification. Even with cultural shifts and ongoing research into psychedelics, LSD remains off limits. No wiggle room, no exceptions. If a player gets caught, they're gone. Ninja headbands. The NBA banned them before the 2019 to 2020 season, calling them unofficial and unapproved. These headbands, tied with long tails like a ninja scarf, exploded in popularity during the 2018 to 19 season, thanks to players like Jimmy Butler, Fox, and Montrezl Harrell. They weren't part of any official uniform, and the league said they skipped the standard approval process. Teams brought up safety concerns, arguing the tails could get pulled or cause tripping if they fell, but no actual injuries were ever reported. The NBA also claimed the look was unprofessional. Mike Scott tweeted that the league and Nike found them too unprofessional, sparking backlash across social media. Fans loved the style, and players were frustrated. when they had to ditch them. Harrell even tweeted that the safety excuse was nonsense. The ban went into effect without any fines or suspensions since it was handled in the off-season. After that, players switched back to standard headbands with approved logos. The ban still stands as of 2025, despite fan petitions and continued pushback online. Some say it was about branding control since many players wore the headbands inside out, hiding Nike logos. Whatever the reason, Ninja headbands became a short-lived statement that the league shut down quickly, turning a fashion moment into a rulebook footnote. Jontay Porter. On April 17, 2024, the NBA banned him for life after he violated the league's gambling rules. He gave inside injury information to a bettor, limited his minutes on purpose to cash in on prop bets, and even placed wagers on NBA games himself. The league said he broke one of its most sacred rules, protecting competitive integrity. Before a March game against Sacramento, he told someone he was injured. That tip led to an $80,000 bet on his stat line to go under. He played only 3 minutes and hit all the unders. He did the same thing in January against the Clippers. Between January and March, he placed 13 bets, some on his own team to lose. He made over $21,000 in profit before the league caught him. He was immediately banned, with no chance to return. At 24 years old, his career ended. He later pleaded guilty to conspiracy to commit wire fraud and now faces up to 20 years in prison. His lawyer said he had a gambling addiction and was way over his head. The NBA used Porter's case to send a clear message. Betting while playing isn't just against the rules, it's unforgivable. And now, Porter's name is etched in league history for all the wrong reasons. Black carbon fiber masks. The NBA never officially banned them in writing, but they're gone just the same. Players like Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, and Kyrie wore them for 1 game or less before being told to switch. The league said it was about visibility. Opponents need to see a player's eyes clearly during games. Black masks apparently made that harder. LeBron called that logic weak, but still followed the rule. These masks also weren't league approved, which made them fall outside uniform guideline. They were custom, flashy, and didn't come from league partners like Nike. That raised eyebrows, especially when James wore one made by a local Miami company in 2014. He dropped 31 points in it, sparked social media chaos, and by the next game, the league told him to switch to a clear version. Kyrie followed the same path in 2017, while Kobe's mask in 2012 only lasted a half. No fines were handed out, but every time, the league stepped in and asked for the change. Players complied, and the black masks disappeared. Joel Embiid got an exception in 2018 because of a unique medical need, but that was rare. Since then, it's been clear masks only. It's not about safety, it's about image, branding, and keeping the gear in line. The league shut down the trend fast. Durags. They've never had an official rule banning them from NBA games, but by 2005, they were basically gone. It all started when David Stern dropped a dress code that banned things like chains, jerseys, and yes, durag. He wanted players to look more professional during team business, which included everything from travel to press conferences. That meant collared shirts, dress shoes, and no signs of the street style that defined stars like Allen Iverson. On the court, the league already had rules against non-uniform headgear unless there was a medical reason. Durags didn't make the cut. They weren't considered performance gear, and referees were told to stop them if they saw one. Sam Perkins once had to remove his before tip-off. Allen Iverson never wore one during games, but he did rock them off court. Until the new rules came in, some players pushed back. Steven Jackson kept wearing his and got hit with fines as high as $25,000. Iverson called it an attack on freedom and said it sent the wrong message to kids. But most players just complied. The image shift was already happening. Suits replaced durags, and the league leaned toward a cleaner look to appeal to sponsors and families. You might see them in tunnel walks, but they're still banned in official NBA settings. The rule never changed, it just got enforced hard. Richard Dumas. He was banned from the NBA in 1996 after violating the league's anti-drug program for a 3rd time. His first strike came before his rookie year in 1991, when he was suspended for drug use and sent to play overseas. He came back strong in 1992, averaging over 15 points and helping the Suns reach the finals. But just 1 year later, he missed the entire 1993 season for breaking aftercare requirements. That was his 2nd strike. He was reinstated in 1995, but relapsed again almost immediately. By the middle of the 95 to 96 season, after joining the Philadelphia 76ers, Dumas failed another test and was permanently banned. He later admitted to battling cocaine and alcohol addiction, along with manic bipolar disorder and anxiety. He used alcohol as a crutch, even needing a 6-pack before playing. After the ban, he played overseas and in minor leagues, but never returned to the NBA. He was only 26 when it ended. In 2013, he was arrested for retail theft while working as a janitor and got probation. His story became a cautionary tale, a player with finals experience and elite athleticism who never beat his demons. By 2025, Dumas remains banned, remembered more for what he lost than what he accomplished. Jordan 1s. The NBA banned them in 1985, not because of the shoe itself, but because of the black and red colorway. At the time, the league required sneakers to be mostly white or match the team's uniform. Michael Jordan's bred Air Jordan 1s didn't come close. The shoes clashed with the Bulls' white jerseys, and the league fined him each time he wore them. The fines started at $1,000 per game and later reached $5,000. Nike paid every penny. Instead of backing down, they built a whole marketing campaign around it, claiming the league had banned the shoe entirely. That ad became legendary. In truth, Jordan kept wearing different Jordan 1 colorways that met the NBA's requirements. Still, the image of the forbidden shoe stuck. The league never suspended him or banned the model, just that specific look. The ban gave Jordan even more mystique. He averaged over 28 points that season and won Rookie of the Year. Nike sold over $126 million worth of shoes in the first year. Today, the ban is remembered as the spark that started modern sneaker culture. By 2018, the NBA dropped its color rules altogether. Now players wear whatever they want, including the once banned breads, without any trouble at all. Brand logos, not partnered with the NBA. They're banned from uniforms and accessories to protect the league's official sponsorships. Since Nike became the uniform provider in 2017, only their branding and other NBA-approved partners are allowed on jerseys, headbands, sleeves, and visible gear. The rule's simple. If a brand doesn't pay the NBA, it doesn't get court time. That's why players like J.R. Smith had to remove a Supreme sleeve in 2017, and why Lonzo Ball covered his big baller brand tattoo in 2018. The league didn't hand out fines, but they made it clear. Wear it again, and there'd be consequences. These weren't performance or safety issues like APL sneakers or black masks. They were strictly commercial. Supreme and Big Baller brand weren't paying to play, so the NBA said no. The league makes billions from licensed apparel, so giving free exposure to outside brands wasn't happening. Some fans called it petty, others thought it kept things professional. Either way, the message stuck. Since then, players have kept off-court brands in the tunnel or on social media. On the hardwood, it's all about what the league approves. As of March 2025, the rule still holds. Non-partner brands stay off the court, and the NBA keeps tight control over every inch of visible gear. Eddie Fast. Eddie Johnson was banned from the NBA in October of 1987 for repeated violations of the league's anti-drug program. He tested positive for cocaine multiple times, failed to complete required counseling, and displayed erratic behavior off the court, including arrests and missed practices. His suspension followed the league's 3-strike drug policy, treatment after the first offense, suspension after the second, and a lifetime ban after the third. At the time, the NBA was cracking down hard on drug use, especially after the death of Len Bias in 1986. Johnson's final ban came during a stint with the Seattle Supersonics, after already being suspended and waived by 2 other teams. He never applied for reinstatement. His post-NBA life spiraled. He was arrested more than 100 times and eventually convicted in 2008 for sexually assaulting a child, receiving a life sentence without parole. He died in prison in 2020. Once a 2-time All-Star and elite scorer with the Atlanta Hawks, Johnson's legacy became a cautionary tale. His downfall helped reinforce the NBA's strict anti-drug message during the 80s. Johnson remains one of the league's most tragic stories, a player whose immense talent was ultimately overshadowed by addiction and criminal behavior. Gold chains, effectively banned in the NBA starting in 2005 through a league-wide dress code and reinforced jewelry restrictions. While not banned by name, they were prohibited as part of David Stern's policy against visible chains, pendants, or medallions worn over clothes. The rule applied to official team business, games, travel, media, and aimed to promote a professional, business-casual image. On the court, jewelry like gold chains had already been disallowed since the late 1980s. For safety reasons, referees enforced the rule to prevent injuries from entanglement or breakage during physical play. players like Allen Iverson and Steven Jackson, who wore chains frequently in the early 2000s, were most affected. Jackson was fined $25,000 in 2005 for violating the dress code. Iverson criticized the rule, but complied. The ban was widely seen as targeting hip-hop fashion, prompting cultural backlash. No player was suspended, but fines ranged from $10,000 to $50,000 for repeat offenses. Under Commissioner Adam Silver, the league eased some dress code rules after 2014, but gold chains remain banned on court. Off-court, tunnel fashion has reintroduced jewelry, but only in unofficial settings. The gold chain ban remains a symbol of the NBA's early 2000s shift from street-inspired individuality to sponsor-friendly professionalism. Donald Sterling. He was banned for life from the NBA on April 29, 2014, after a recorded conversation revealed him telling his mistress not to bring black people to Clippers games or post photos with them. That audio, released by a tabloid, sparked immediate outrage across the league. Commissioner Adam Silver responded by banning Sterling under Article 13 of the NBA Constitution, which allows punishment for behavior that damages the league's image. Silver called the comments deeply offensive and handed out the league's maximum fine, $2.5 million. Sterling lost all team control and was eventually forced to sell the Clippers. His wife sold them to Steve Ballmer for $2 billion that summer, even though Sterling resisted the move at first. He sued the league for $1 billion, but dropped the case shortly after. Sterling's long history of racist allegations had gone unchecked for decades, including housing discrimination lawsuits and claims from former general manager Elgin Baylor. But this time, public pressure was too strong. Players threatened to boycott, sponsors pulled out, and the NBA moved fast to protect its image. Despite the lifetime ban, Sterling made a massive profit, turning his original $13.5 million investment into a multi-billion-dollar sale. His name's now tied to one of the league's darkest moments, and the punishment stands to this day. The ban signaled a major cultural shift, holding even owners accountable for behavior that crosses the line. Cell phone use during games. The NBA bans players, coaches, and team personnel from using cell phones during games, based on rules in the Game Operations Manual and Article 35 of the Collective Bargaining Agreement. This rule covers benches, locker rooms during game time, and courts, all to keep the focus on basketball and maintain a professional image. It started in the early 2000s when smartphones became a real distraction. Gilbert Arenas was caught texting at halftime in 2008, and J.R. Smith got fined $5,000 in 2015 for checking his phone during a timeout. Since then, the league's cracked down. Even Chris Paul got told to put his phone away pre-game in 2012. The NBA doesn't want mid-game tweets or viral phone moments messing with broadcasts or distracting players. There's also concern about gambling and leaking info, even though there's no confirmed case tied to phones. Referees and staff check benches often, and phones are only allowed during emergencies or halftime under supervision. Violations are minor, mostly fines, but the message is clear. Phones are for pre-game selfies or post-game posts, not for timeouts or huddle. The ban's still in place. It's one of those low-profile rules that keeps the NBA clean, focused, and fully in control during live games. Tinted goggles. The NBA doesn't allow players to wear tinted goggles during games because they're seen as giving an unfair advantage. The rule comes from the league's uniform and equipment policies, which require all on-court gear to be approved and not obscure a player's eyes. Back in 2011, D. Wade tried wearing them to help with migraines, but the league shut it down. They said it would let him hide where he was looking, which could mess with defenders' reads. The same thing happened in 2012 with Rajon Rondo, and again in 2021 with JaVale McGee, who had to swap them out at halftime after the league called the Suns during the game. The NBA wants everything to look professional and uniform, so anything that blocks the eyes is off limits. Clear goggles are totally fine. Players like Kareem and Rip Hamilton wore them for years. But once tint gets involved, the league sees it as performance-altering. Nobody's been fined heavily, but Wade and Rondo were told to change before tip-off, and McGee faced a threatened fine if he didn't switch. All of them complied. It's not about safety or branding. It's all about fairness and keeping the game clean. By 2025, nobody's really trying anymore. The rules stuck, and guys just use clear ones if needed. Tinted goggles have become a quirky part of NBA history, but they're not making a comeback anytime soon. John Drew. He became the first NBA player permanently banned under the league's anti-drug program in January 1986 after violating the policy for a third time. His repeated cocaine use triggered the 3 strikes rule established in 1983, which called for treatment after the first offense, suspension after the second, and a lifetime ban with possible reinstatement after 2 years following the third. At the time of the ban, Drew wasn't on an NBA roster, but was playing in the CBA, still under league jurisdiction. Commissioner David Stern enforced the punishment as a public message that drug use would not be tolerated, especially with the league trying to clean up its image during the height of the cocaine crisis. Drew's problems started in the late 70s with Atlanta, carried into his time with the Jazz, and were worsened by multiple relapses and off-court incidents. After being waived in 1985, he checked into rehab a third time, which the league counted as his final strike. Post-ban, he was arrested twice for cocaine-related charges, and despite eligibility for reinstatement by 1987, he never applied. Drew's promising career, 15,291 points and 2 All-Star appearances, was buried by addiction. Financially, he went from earning $500,000 in the NBA to $500 weekly in the CBA. He passed away in 2022 at age 67, remembered as a cautionary tale from one of the NBA's darkest eras. If you enjoyed this, I'm going to be posting a lot here. I would greatly appreciate it if you could subscribe. Thanks for watching.